Here's my take. Because I think Tom Brady, I think he's done. I think he's going to retire. It's a guess.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not reporting it. I just think that was it. It's the perfect way to go out. If you're not going to go out with like a Super Bowl, because I think it's actually hard
last
to retire.
year was probably the perfect way.
Well, but I think it's hard to retire when you've won, right? You're going to be like, we're going to do it again. But if you almost have to get kicked in the nuts to want to be like, that was stupid. So they leave where he has Godwin gets hurt. He loses his offensive line. Antonio Brown embarrasses him. And you could kind of see I don't want to say he was on autopilot, but he wasn't like the fired up fist pump. We're going to do this. He was there. He was involved. But it had the makings from the beginning of like, they're going to lose. And then 27-3. And it was like something switched where it's like, it is Brady. And I think we're all thinking it. And then it actually starts happening. And the Rams are just like, we're prepared to do the biggest choke of all time. It doesn't happen, but it's basically the bizarro version of Super Bowl 36, his first Super Bowl win against the Rams, where he brings them all the way back. This miracle, you bet on the Rams in that game. This miracle, it's 27-all, 42 seconds, and then the Rams fucking cut their hearts out, and Brady loses, much like Kurt Warner in that game. And it just feels like there's some symmetry there. I don't want to see him have the year that Peyton Manning had, that last Denver year when he was like noodle arm Manning, and it was like, man, he stayed too long. Or like Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger would be bad. Yep.
Yeah, I just think like you're 44. You've set every record. You won 7 Super Bowls. This was amazing. You're not. I think the ship has sailed with this Bucs team. Your coach looked like he was in a coma for half the game. Godwin's going to be back midway through next season. They have a lot of cap shit. I don't think he can win the Super Bowl with this team again anyway. So I think he should walk off.
Well, you might be right, but it just doesn't jive with all he's been saying, that he's going to play to 50. And I know that's just a funny thing to say, but he's healthy enough to do it. I agree that it is now an uphill climb with this Bucs team. It is, right? Took them to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. And now with all those guys, I'm not going to repeat everything you just said. But, the coach is abusive. He beats the crap out of these players.
He is.
Probably just want to leave home at this
point. He's an abuser.
If you're Brady. But, yeah, and he had one completion through like 14 minutes. Like it was kind of sad to watch. Like if this is going to be their demise, I'm glad they came back. I'm glad it was close. That would have choke job. That would have been for the Rams. But is he done? Again, we're going to talk eventually about the Packers, but I think the NFC is winnable. We just talked about the AFC and how, oh boy, it's going to be one of 5 quarterbacks, and that's that. The NFC is going to bounce around a little bit. You could have a new team in there every year, and I think they're just as good as anybody in that conference.
Well, don't the Niners have cap space?
The Niners, I think, do have cap space. The Packers don't. The Saints don't. Yeah.
I wonder if the move is for him to jump to the Niners because he's from there, and that's like, and he's like kind of rent a QB for their last Super Bowl. They trade Jimmy G for whatever. Lance is a year away. He might even be the Bruno Cabasio Memorial a year away from being a year away. But you bring Brady in for one, and that's how it ends. It's hard for me I think he's this really smart, calculating guy about football stuff. Like a lot like how LeBron is, where he just, he sees everything through the prism of, can I win a title? And there's no way he's leaving this Bucs season and going, yep, Bruce Arians, Godwin coming back from knee surgery, a shitty cap situation, defense a year older. Like, this is it. We got it next year, because never felt like they were that close. I didn't think.
Yeah, but there's always, I know the cap space is a problem, but if you want Tom Brady to stay, they can maybe open something up for a free agent. I don't even know who's really on the market there, that free agent wise this year, or, there's always some studs in the draft. I don't know. They'd have to make it appealing for him, but yeah, I agree.
He could go to the Niners for like $1 million.
Sure.
It's like, hey, this is how I want to win my 8th Super Bowl.
Is that
I want
fair
to
to
get home
Jimmy
and I'm
G?
retiring.
What is it really, Jimmy? You talk about Bills fans being despondent. What would Jimmy G do if that happens? Like, now this guy's following me to my team I took to potentially the Super Bowl twice in 3 years.
Well, we almost had the Jimmy G versus Brady. It felt like it was in the air when it was 27-27. How many quarterbacks in your lifetime, when it's 27-3, do you feel like they're in the game the way we did with Brady, who, by the way, is 44 years old and past his prime, let's be honest. But like, where there's this mythic element to him now, And even you could see Beckham, they interviewed him after the game and he's like, yeah, man, I didn't feel safe. They got the GOAT on the other sideline. Like there's something hanging in the air that's just felt different. Like it's definitely when he retires, he's taking that with him.
I think what was hanging in the air was Cam Akers' fumble, which brought him back in there. It was hanging forever. And then that brought them back. But
which fumble?
So yeah, exactly. There's only a handful. Elway, I wouldn't even say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Brady's one of the few that could do it.
Well, that would have been, for a second, the Rams looked like they were channeling.
But what the hell? What is we want to talk about Arians blitzing? Like this is insanity with Cooper Kupp.
Well, so the Rams, they fumble right before the half, and it would have been 27-3, and before halftime, and they're getting the ball at the start of the second half. So the Rams get a reprieve there. And then over and over again, they're just giving the ball back. But it's 27-13 with 4 minutes left. Brady hits Evans. Evans just dusted Jalen Ramsey, who I thought was the best cornerback in the league. He got demolished. 27-20. Rams completely roll over. Bucks come down. I mean, it was right up there with what we saw from the Falcons. I mean, they didn't have the Matt Ryan taking a dumb sack and knocking themselves out of field goal range moment, but they had all the other things from that game, right?
Yeah. Well, don't forget, Kupp was 3rd and 20 when they converted too, like earlier in the game. And then, I mean, that's the one thing you can't give up is if like a 55-yard pass inbounds, or I guess out of bounds would be even worse, but you're sending somebody. And what did Arian say? You sent the quote. What did he say? Take me to task or something? Call me out on it?
No, it was not all of our guys knew we were blitzing. So if you want to second guess us on that, I guess you could or something.
Oh, okay.
It was like, yes, I'd like to take you up on your offer. I rewatched it. There were 6 guys blitzing, and Kupp, who was the best receiver all season, who was good in that game, and he just runs a straight line down the middle of the field, and they don't cover him.
Talk about holding a guy at the line of scrimmage. That start with him. Start number 10.
Right. As he's going by, just like horse collar him, do anything. Yeah. But yeah, that was one of the dumbest collapses. And what's funny is that Bills Chiefs game was so great. All of these other kind of goats from the weekend fade in the background, right? Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, everyone on the Bruce Arians, all the people on the Rams who contributed. And then the Rams come out of that game. And that, like, I thought, who was announcing the game? It was NBC. It was Al and Chris. And so Akers fumbles in the first half, and then they have the ball and they're trying to score. And Chris is like, "Oh, Al, I love this. He's telling Cam Akers, you're my guy. You're my guy. You go right back to him, Al." And so I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then Cam Akers fumbles like 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
Second fumble of the day. By the way, he was terrible. 24 carries, 46 yards.
I know. I love the 1-2 punch with Akers and Michelle. I was talking about it all week, and he really almost blew it for him. Speaking of Al Michaels, real quick, very weird to see him doing a game during the day, right? It threw me off. I couldn't get used to it.
I think it threw him off. I didn't feel like he rose to the occasion on a couple of those things.
Yeah, I know.
Because Nance was having an orgasm during the Chiefs-Bills game.
He went nuts.
He was like at another level. Al had that vibe of like, I've called the miracle on ice. I've seen, I've been in a lot of great moments. You're really going to have to impress me. But even the Braden Evans thing, I felt like the octave should have gone way up on that.
Maybe. Just as a viewer, I couldn't. It didn't make sense with him during the day. It was like seeing Prince wear green. Like what's going on here? But Collinsworth was great. But Scotty Miller, his new infatuation with Scotty. Oh, this is Scotty Miller. You would have thought he had Cooper Kupp's numbers this year. Yeah, Scotty Miller is the best player on the field.